Okay, we're back. My bad, guys. For whatever reason, it decided that it didn't want to work anymore, and then I had to reset the whole thing. Um, so yeah, we are back at it. What were we saying? We were talking about Mads and the trailer. So I think someone was gonna say something.
Oh, I was thinking about the trailer reminding me of that movie, Bug with Michael Shannon. I don't know if you guys ever seen that. It's a very old movie,
I've never seen
but
it.
basically it's like these two people, this man and a woman, like they were just paranoid like throughout the whole because there's like bugs like crawling on their skin and going inside their body and everything like that. So they keep constantly throughout the whole entire movie just keeps trying to scratch it out. Then they end up killing people and stuff like that because the bug is like driving them like insane. Basically,
Hmm.
the bugs inside them. It turns out at the end of the movie, this movie is old enough so I can spoil it. The end of the movie, it was just like they were paranoid. They were on drugs
Yeah.
the whole entire time. There was no bugs.
Oh, I'm
So
sure.
I
Yeah.
feel like this is going to be the same bullshit where it's like, because
Was
they
that
took a lot of drugs in this trailer.
Yeah, that's true.
was that the movie that was with the students and teachers?
No, no. This is just mainly it was just two people. It was Michael Shannon and some other lady. It was Michael Shannon and actually the lady that plays Man of Steel wife, Superman's mother. Jesus Christ.
Mm.
Yeah. It's old movie.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think you're talking about faculty.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my only thing, which is also very impressive, but like, imagine how many times they had to film this movie, because it's one continuous cut. Imagine they fucked up.
Yeah, they have to be like because they all didn't do it like in one take. It was just that they probably backed up and picked up right where they left off. Like
But you can't do
because
that.
the cuts mean because when they say like all in one shot, it means like there's no cut scenes to like different like scenes. You know what I mean? Where like they do like B-roll shots
Yeah, yeah.
or like into another character's storyline. But like if it's one shot, I think like they do the whole like stop, go again, stop,
I
go
don't think
again.
so, because then that
I
means you got
don't.
to cut out what didn't work. So that's a cut.
They but they say continuous shot. I don't know if that is different than a one shot.
Yeah.
Because one continuous is just one story, like one
Mm-hmm.
shot following one camera going all the way through. Like that should be because I mean there's no way
Impressive,
they
bro.
can do this without like
If they did it, that's impressive.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because like it's got to be at least an hour and a half, at least. So
because you gotta also like cut the shot so that way you can do the makeup for the blood and all that. Because
well,
like
not necessarily. So what happens is you could always like cut like and it follows another person while the other people get ready. So like you're following one person and the camera kind of brings it back to another.
yeah,
Yeah, like
I mean that takes fucking time.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that
and
it wasn't.
precision.
It definitely wasn't filmed on their first try. So I'm just wondering how many
Mm.
attempts it took them. So, but yeah, it seems really interesting. I think I'll give it a shot. It's in a different language, but I mean, like, I'll give it a shot. I think it's
Yeah.
entertaining enough
A
to.
lot of the good horror movies are like international ones.
Yeah. So I'll try. I'll figure it out. I'll try it. Um, but yeah, that's Mads. And then the last piece of news that we have before we do the Joker trailer is Aaron Pierre. So we last week were talking about either Aaron Pierre or another dude up for the role of a Green Lantern, John Stewart's Green Lantern. Aaron Pierre won. Aaron Pierre has officially been cast as John Stewart's Green Lantern. I can 100% see it. He looks like John Stewart. He looks like a Green Lantern. So I think he looks good for the role. I'm actually really excited for this one. Out of all the Green Lanterns, I think I agree with John Stewart's the most, which makes me happy because I'm a John Stewart kind of guy, But he seems pretty good for the role. He's jacked. He's tall. He looks like him. Like I just think like he can
You
play
got that
him good.
commanding voice, you
Yep,
know what I mean?
yep.
Like
He's got
Yeah,
a
his
deep
voice
voice.
you know,
is
because
similar.
so he's like a British actor. I swear to God, British actors are phenomenal at these like it's just like movies. I swear to God.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he's been cast as John Stewart in the Lanterns TV show series. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what the hell that is even doing. I don't know. But that is it for news. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go to our little trailer thing. We're gonna bring it on up. We're gonna hit up.
Trailer review?
I'm sorry, not trailer review. It's gonna be movie
Oh,
review now.
Joker, yeah, Joker review.
There we go. Change that. So now we have movie review Joker. Ba-boom. All right, guys. Last week, Joker came out. Andrew saw it first. He saw it on Thursday, right before the show. He gave us his honest opinion. At the time, Andrew, I believe you gave it a 7, which I was very interested in that opinion. And then I watched it. Shane watched it. We all have our opinions. But since then, a lot of stuff has happened in this show, for this movie. So here's some interesting things before. So if you haven't seen this movie, here's some really interesting facts about the movie before we give our review, which may or may not back up our review. Who knows? So audience and critic scores at the moment are both. You don't hear this, but they're both in the 30s. They're very close to each other. I think one at the last time I checked was like 36 and one was 37%, which you don't really ever see. Critics' reviews are always a little harsher. They're usually going to get a little lower, but then you have the audience reviews that usually do a lot better than critics' reviews. So you like, for example, I think the Marvels we can use as an example. The Marvels had a low critics review, but like a higher audience review. You very rarely see, in my opinion, you very rarely see audience and critics reviews being the same, if not relatively the same. So audience and critics reviews, it also got a D on CinemaScore, which is the lowest score in comic history to receive a D. So that sucks.
Can you look up real quick what the first did? Like, how did the first one go?
Joker? Like, what do you want me to look up? You want me to look up the Rotten Tomatoes?
Joker won the review, the critic review for that one. Honestly, comparatively, like.
So Joker 2019 got a 68% on the tomato meter for critics reviews with 602 reviews, and an 89% on popcorn meter, whatever, which is more than 50,000 reviews. And now if I'm looking at the second one got a 33% with 310 reviews on the tomato meter, and a 31% with over 2,500 on audience reviews, which the critics scored it higher than the audience by 2%. So
that, you know, is bullshit.
Yeah, so this is where you kind of know. So that happened. To also kind of get a better idea, apparently Warner Brothers declined to do test screens of the Joker to audiences at all before the film was complete.
They knew it was going to be received badly.
Yeah, I think they did.
Just gotta get out.
Another thing,
yes, which is crazy.
So another thing is apparently, so there's 2 different directors for Joker. There's the first director who was, let me see, Joker director, that was Todd Phillips. And the Joker 2 director, nope, never mind, was Todd Phillips. Joker director, Joker 2019 film was Todd Phillips. Joker 2 was also apparently directed by Todd Phillips. I thought that it was a different person. I think it might have been a different company. So what I heard was apparently Todd Phillips didn't want a second Joker. Like, they meant to just do one Joker, right?
Yeah.
And Ted said, "Oh shit, how is Joker 2? Ted, not worth it. Yo, I got a lurk. My Wi-Fi is messed up. All right, cool, man. I appreciate the lurk though. Yeah. So there was only really meant to be one movie, but because of how well the first movie did, they made a second one. Just to kind of like give whatever it was for the second one. So just that's basically all the news that we have kind of leading up to our review for Joker. So guys, if you're first time here, the way it works, we do a non-spoiler review first for everyone who hasn't seen the movie yet, who wants to kind of get an idea of the movie. And then afterwards, we give our honest, full very in-depth review with spoilers of the movie. So you can come for both if you've seen the movie. You can come from one if you haven't, or if you had. Really kind of depends on you. But I will obviously warn you when the spoiler section is coming into play. So, Andrew, I'd be curious to hear your opinion of the movie first, because as a non-spoiler, because as when the movie first came out, you did give it a 7 on last week's episode, and I'm wondering, like, for you, has your review itself changed, and has your opinion changed since you've seen the movie?
Yeah, it's one of those situations where like we definitely got to stop reviewing movies like immediately right after coming out of the theater watching it. It's one of those things. Because although like it wasn't rated high from me, you know, it was a 7, so it wasn't that high, but it was still high in the highs,
That was
like
pretty generous.
because of just recently coming out the theaters, seeing it. Looking back at it now, I see more. I start to realize that just the musical aspect that I didn't really like, obviously, but it distracted me from giving like an actual why I didn't enjoy the movie as much, because of the setting. It was really only like 2 settings of the movie. It didn't really change to that many settings. I can't go on about it without spoiling anything, but it took place in one room most of the time throughout the whole entire movie, and it was just like a back and forth thing with the whole courtroom, and I'm like that's a boring ass movie. Like I just realized it's a boring ass movie after realizing it, but it took a couple of days to think about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's an okay movie. It's not. So here's my thing, right? So I don't agree with the way people are bashing on this movie. Like it's crazy that people are rating this thing lower than Madam Web, which is not true at all.
Yeah.
This is actually better than Madam Web.
I agree.
So that whole critic thing is bullshit. I will say though, like when the first Joker came out, and everyone have seen it, everyone was complaining. It's like this can't be the Joker that fights Batman. This can't be the Joker that's the mastermind of all these plans and stuff like that. But you know, it still got a good rating but everyone was disagreeing with this Joker. And this movie is kind of like telling you, like, well, you got what you wanted, kind of. So why is everyone mad now? Like, well, why is everyone mad? So it's like it doesn't make sense to me. So I am against the critics on that. But I don't know. Like, yeah, the movie's okay to me. That's all I got to say.
Fair. Shane, what'd you think of the movie?
Because I did rate it a little higher when I first got out of it, as I sat with it, slowly dropped. But like honestly, I feel like it might have dropped significantly as I keep playing it in my head right now. But like things actually, unlike Snowy, the music portion is my favorite portion because I'm a big musical guy. You know what I mean? I like musicals. The choices of songs they sang, great, loved it. Lady Gaga, beautiful singer. You know what I mean? Added nothing to the movie. You know what I mean? It's just a crazy guy being crazy, and like Snowy said, it was like the settings did not change, and it's like between 2 places that I keep jumping back and forth to, and it was like unlike the first one where it was like this journey of lunacy. You know what I mean? Where he was just discovering how crazy he ended up being, us discovering how crazy he ended up being. That was like this thrilling thing. This movie just lacked it completely. It was like they were emphasizing on the music, which like I said, added nothing. So like it's not great, but I don't know. See for yourself.
Okay, fair enough. Before we get into the spoiler review, I'll just say my little 2 cents here. So here's the deal. It's an okay movie. I will agree with the both of you. It's an okay movie. Is it worth going to theaters for? No. I say save your money. If you do want to watch it when it comes out for free, because I guarantee you it's going to come out on like Max in like 2 weeks. You know, like you're not going to be waiting long for this movie to come out digitally because it's not doing well. All right. I think open box office, and as of right now, up until now, today, it's only made like 50 something million, and it was a $200 million movie. So they are $150 million in debt right now. I guess under. So I will say, definitely not worth it to go to the theaters. Watch it if you must. If you really want to go to the theaters to see it, go for it. It is boring. You are not going to like it. I heard a lot of people walked out of the theaters. It is too much singing, in my opinion. See, like, you like the musical numbers. I'm really more with Andrew here, but like, I didn't like it. It was just too much singing. I felt like it was just the whole movie was just about pretty much singing. Like, more scenes were singing than not, and it was like, I get that that's what a musical is, but it was too much. Like, you would get singing, then you'd get a small 2 minute scene, and then you would get more singing. It's like, and that's how the entire movie was. There was always singing involved somehow, and that kind of really pissed me off. Um, I don't think this is really much of a spoiler, but towards the end, Joker was like, "Please, no more singing," and I was like, "Yes, please, for the love of God, like, just no more singing." Um, but it just wasn't like, just from like, I get the movie point, I get the whole point. This was more of like a, I can't really say anything because I don't want to spoil it, so I'll say it in the spoilers. But it will make sense when we talk about the spoiler section as to like why this movie was made. It didn't have to be made, but this is why it was made. We'll kind of get into that. So, all in all, it was a very mid movie to me, and the more like I said, like you guys both mentioned, the more time that we have to think about it, just the lower the score is getting for me. Originally, I had it at like maybe a 6.5, but now I'm kind of really leaning more towards like 5.5, 6. I still haven't completely made up my mind, but I will kind of just say like that's kind of where I'm aiming at right now. Just to give you guys, before we get into like the spoiler section, I want to just like make you think about this, like, so that way you have time to kind of like feel this out. Eternals was a 6.5. Thor: Love and Thunder was a 6.5. Shazam 2 was a 6.5. And The Flash was a 6.27. So ask yourself, did you like Joker 2 more than any of those movies? And then you'll
I
have.
feel like Eternals should have been higher.
We always
I
said
like
Eternals was supposed
Eternals,
to be higher.
yeah, should have been higher, man. That
I-
should have been
It
higher.
should have been.
I think Eternals
so
should
mad at
definitely have been higher. I think we could, honestly, if we all agree right here, I think we could probably say, let's bump Eternals up to a 7.
Yeah, at least a 7 feels more
Yeah.
solid.
We'll go for Eternals being a 7. But every other
Yeah.
movie that I just listed deserves 6.5, like Thor: Love and Thunder, Shazam 2. They probably even deserve
Those
lower.
fucking deserve it.
Those
fucking
probably deserve way lower. But like, anyway,
Yeah.
yo,
They pretty
Jaguar,
much be all around the same rating as The Flash. Those 3 movies, 6.2. Like all
6.2.
should be 6.2. Low key, high key. They should
I'll
all
agree
be.
with that. I'll agree with that, man. I'm putting them in right now. I'm changing our stuff.
Because 6.5, now that I think about it, sounds kind of high. The fact that we rated Eternal 6.5.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah, I
funny.
know. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So, all right. So now I changed it. So now, just to give you a better concept, Eternals is now at a 7. Thor: Love and Thunder, Shazam 2, and Flash are all at a 6.2. And then we have Aquaman 2 at 5.3. That's our next one. So that is what you're going to get here. So now you have to say, you know, do you like it better? Do you like it worse? We're going to have, like, while we do our spoiler review of the movie, that's what we're going to have to do. So, Jag, yeah, unfortunately we lagged a little bit, but we're back now. So here we go. So, spoiler review. I'll start because I was going to say something earlier on the non-spoiler review. So, what I was going to say was basically like, you didn't need this movie, right? Didn't. Not at all. But to what Andrew said, to Andrew's point, when they were like, oh, like, this is no way that this is the Joker that fights the Batman, we now find out that that is the case. Arthur was never in the comics. And I think that was one thing that I told myself when the first movie came out, because I was like, this is so weird. Like, Arthur Fleck, I don't remember Arthur Fleck. And then I looked him up, and he's not existent in the comics. So I was like, oh, they're doing their own version of the Joker. So I was like, fine, whatever.
Joker has had multiple origin stories.
Right.
Like, he's had multiple, yeah.
But never as Arthur Fleck. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so here I'm
nothing...
thinking, like, I know all of the Joker's origin stories. I was just thinking, like, you know, when I went into the movie, I was like, Arthur Fleck. And I was like, I don't remember ever hearing about an Arthur Fleck. And then after the movie, I looked it up, and I was like, no, like, I'm not going crazy here. Like they made up their own character. But he had an origin story very similar to one of the Jokers. So, you know, when they made up Arthur, I was okay with it because the first movie was so good. So I was like, oh, like they just kind of maybe there was like legal reasons or whatever that they decided to go with the man named Arthur Fleck. So I was like, all right, whatever. It was good. It was a great movie. I was enjoying it. And then the thought did cross my mind like like a months later, where I was like, yeah, he would never really be able to beat the Joker. I mean, beat the Batman. So I was like, what is going on here? Second movie gives you that answer. Arthur Fleck was never the Joker. He was the inspiration for the Joker. He created the Joker because he dressed like a clown, but he wasn't the Joker. You know what I mean? The name was created through him, but he was never like the Joker. So
Yeah, if you think about it, because in the first movie we saw Bruce Wayne
yeah.
as a child,
Mm-hmm.
so Joker should be closer to his age. So like that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then the second
I mean, like to be, I guess then again though, like after the first one, because of the ending, how the first one played out, it was more of we still had that. Well, we had that thing where it's like, what did it all happen in his head though? Did he just like envision all that
Yeah.
in his head? You know, was the movie even real in the first place? So he could have changed the age of characters because it's all in his head. He could do whatever the fuck he wants. But now this movie kind of like cemented everything where it's like, no, it wasn't all in his head. Everything actually did happen in that fucking movie, other than the obvious part where they're saying it didn't happen. And yeah, so he's definitely
there. And this only took
Yeah.
took place 2 years after the incident, so it's not like Bruce is much older. But
right.
so
See,
basically,
this,
oh god,
this movie just should never have been a Joker movie. It should have just been a guy that went crazy. Like it felt so pointless to make this in Gotham, to have Bruce Wayne, Harley Quinn, fucking like all these characters. There's no point in that.
So
You know what I oh, go ahead, Adam.
no, go ahead.
So you know, I read and I thought it was pretty interesting, right? It's like, well, Joker 2 is not technically a Joker movie; it's a Harley Quinn origin movie.
Yeah, that's what I was like really getting to. But here's the craziest thing too: you didn't need Harley in this movie. Like that's the crazy. Like that's the other thing. You did not need Lady Gaga's Harley
I
Quinn
get
in
it.
this movie. I get it, but like you didn't. You know?
No, I mean it's you have to think of this movie like this was basically just a love story, which is what those musical portions were. It was a love story.
It really wasn't a love story. Like at the end, Lady Gaga
Well, I
just
mean-
like fucking dipped. Like she was like, "Nah, dude, you're not
Yeah,
crazy."
it's a love story between crazy people.
Yeah,
That's
like,
really what it was.
she loved the Joker, and that's kind of like what the comics go. So the things that I appreciated, but like I was like, okay, like you kind of threw this in there. It's a small little Easter egg, whatever. Harvey Dent, that was cool, especially after the explosion. That was pretty solid.
Yeah. Two-Face.
Yeah. So that was cool. And then the very
It didn't
end,
make sense though. Oh, I fucking forgot about that shit. That didn't make sense. His face was like burned off already,
Yeah.
and everyone's
Yeah.
still young. Like, how the fuck did that?
Yeah, so that's
What?
what I'm saying.
How
It's
does
like,
Two-Face happen? You know, when Bruce is already old. Like, I don't know, but
yeah, it's the whole thing. Like, again, that's a plot
All
hole.
over the
I
place.
thought it was cool, whatever. And then at the end, so basically we see that Joaquin Phoenix, spoiler alert, guys, died and was murdered by a psychopath in the Arkham Asylum. Who then in the background you see him slicing his mouth on both sides, therefore kind of creating the Joker persona, and with that kind of like says that he is the Joker. He's fairly young in
Well,
there.
it wasn't even just that. Like, so there was I don't know if it's rumors, but there was a thing where before Joker 2 was like released to the public for people to know about, I guess Todd Phillips came with the idea of giving Heath Ledger an origin. It's like, can I make my Joker do the cutting on the thing so it can be like the origin of the Heath Ledger Joker? And Christopher Nolan said no, but then he left WB after that, and because he left, Christopher Nolan couldn't say anything anymore, and Todd Phillips went with the idea of carving the smile on the Joker's face, implying that this is the origin for Heath Ledger Joker from The Dark Knight.
That one actually gets me kind of mad if that's true. Because
It is true. It does get me kind of mad too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah, it's supposed to be separate, but I took it as a way where it's like we have other iteration of Joker where his face is cut off, his smile is cut in, I guess, or out. It could have been any Joker, but don't tarnish
No,
don't
God,
tarnish
no,
Heath Ledger
don't do
Joker. You know
that.
what I mean? Yeah,
I
don't do
just think
that.
like, but
Yeah.
then it's also like, okay, so after this, like, fine, you had two Joker movies with a person who's not even the Joker. And now you have the end results where like now he's dead and you kind of created an actual Joker. So where are you going from here? Because the craziest thing is now we have the Penguin now out, right? And then after the Penguin, it takes place right after like where the Batman 2 is going to pick up. We have another Joker there. So what are you going to do? Are you going to make another side Joker movie where like now you have your own Joker and you're going to create a third Batman? Because at that point you have
No.
the Batman, which is, you know, Chris whatever the guy's name is.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. I don't know why I wanted to say Christopher. So we have the Batman with Robert Pattinson. We have whoever the hell the Batman is going to be in the DCU. And then you're going to have a third Batman here with your own stupid little thing because you just created like the thing. I can't really see them not doing another movie where it's like now you have like a legit Joker, because what was the
No,
point of that?
I don't think it's
First
meant
off,
for that though. It's not
Yeah,
meant
I
for
hope
there to be
not.
another one.
this Joker 1 and 2. Well, Joker 1 should have just been Joker 1. 2 felt like, oh, like Lady Gaga wants to be in it. Let's just make one, you know, for her to be Harley Quinn. You know what I mean? But like this, like if this is set as an inspiration to build the Joker, like that's its own thing. Because like this is basically like the Joker's origin story in a way. Then
Yeah.
because like he wasn't the Joker itself being the origin, but like the inspiration to him. You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like
Yeah.
so, this is
Joker-
just solely Joaquin Phoenix,
Yeah.
his whole story.
Yep.
And now that he's
But-
dead, that's it.
Yeah.
The story, how I took it was like what you said, Shane. This is an origin. This is the persona, because it's kind of pretty much implying that Joker is a persona just as much as Batman is a symbol. You know, like
Mhm.
that's how I took it. And anyone can
Yeah.
be literally the Joker, and that's the reason why no one knows his backstory. No one knows where he comes from, because low key, like anyone could just be the Joker, just do Joker shit.
Yeah, they could.
And-
And
but
there's
it
a
all-
whole
but
bunch
it
of
all-
people.
Yep, and it all originated from one spot. And Joker 1 was that one spot, was the root of everything.
Yeah, he
Same with
triggered it.
Batman. Yep, same with Batman. Like Bruce Wayne, because this story is iteration in the comics where Bruce Wayne do die and then people do take the mantle over and become Batman themselves. So, but Batman is more than just a person underneath. It's the symbol that he represents, you know, fighting justice and all that stuff. So I thought that part was pretty cool. And that's the reason why, like, I do agree with you guys where it's like they didn't need the part 2, but I get why they did it.
I get why they did
it.
it, for sure.
I get why they did it.
I
Yeah.
think they just could have done it way differently. They did
Oh,
not
way
have to make
They
it a
didn't make it a
musical.
musical,
They should have.
but
They didn't need to do that, Shane. They could have
Yeah.
caused that bomb explosion at the courtroom. That should have been a whole new scene where like a
that
bunch
should
of
have been
Jokers
the
in masks
beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
caused riots and shit.
Yes.
So I'm so mad that like, so since the beginning of the movie, he's in Arkham Asylum. He goes back and forth, meets Harley, right? The whole relationship kind of grows, but it's between that and then the courtroom, back and forth over and over again. You see, he gets treated like shit, and then he like, you know, he's gaining his insanity back, not taking his pills, and it's the musical. Like it could have, like if they had just like did the explosion thing earlier, he escaped, did a whole journey of him going on like a killing spree or something, that would have been a dope story. You know what I mean?
I think like they made it look like that in the trailer. Like they made it look like
Yeah,
him and
they
Harley.
did.
Yeah, they made it look like him and Harley were gonna like meet, fall in love. Harley was gonna like break him out, or like someone was gonna break him out, and then they break out during the court session, and then all of a sudden they like do this whole thing, and like try and get away or stay away, and like that's like the origin. And then at the end, maybe like, you know, he could have quit or gave up or whatever or died, and then something could have happened. It could have done so much better. There was no need to make it a
Yeah,
musical.
wait.
The only reason they made it a musical because Lady Gaga was on it, and that's so dumb. It defeats the
Which
purpose.
is
They wanted something
funny.
new.
Because I think Lady Gaga said this is kind of not a musical.
That's 100% a musical.
It's 100%.
They never stopped singing.
Yeah.
It was just
Which
like,
is
oh,
what
let's
she
freaking
said.
sing.
She's like, it's a unique way to go about
So
going towards the musical route, but it's not a musical.
it was
essentially.
100% a
Well,
musical.
no, because in like I bet you it's like it's because the crazy portion of it is what makes it not a musical or something. Because like it's like not really happening, but it's happening kind of shit.
So I like the idea of adding like a musical theme to craziness. You know what I mean? Like I like that because I
That is
think that's cool. I think that is cool to see like the colors where like other people don't see them, or to see like what kind of goes on in their mind where it's like, oh, like this is what I think is happening, but I'm actually not doing it. Like that was cool. That was cool. Also, by the way, the intro way too long. The cartoon thing that they
the
made of him
cartoon thing.
Yeah.
way too damn long. They could have cut that in half. I was getting sick of it. I was like, what is going on? And then I was like, okay, this kind of looks cool. But then like I was like, this is too much, dude. This is way too much.
Which is crazy because like that cartoon was not only a recap of the
Yeah, it was
first
just a
one, but
recap.
also but also the backbone of the whole entire movie of
Yeah.
part two.
Because they basically his craziness framed him and then left him to be the one that goes into Arkham. Like the whole thing was I get it. It was cool, but come on, dude. So the whole thing was like ridiculous. I think they could have done it a little bit better. And they made it into a musical, which they definitely didn't have to do. I felt like they cut a lot of things out. They didn't really have to have Harley Quinn's character in this one, honestly. I think like she was in it and that was cool, but that was a grab. That was like,
Yeah.
making this movie because they knew they needed people to watch it. So they brought freaking Harley Quinn in because everyone kept on thinking. Like, my thought when I see Harley Quinn, I was like, hell yeah. Like, I was like, we're going to get a Harley Quinn Joker duo. That's going to be sick as shit. And then we didn't even get that, dude. Like, we got none of it. Harley just went to the court and, like,
And
cheered them on.
it pissed me off because it was like I remember when we got our like screenshot of Harley in Harley makeup costume and stuff, right? We were like, oh shit, she looks great,
She
right? And
wasn't
the
even
goal
in
and like
there.
my thought was like they're gonna go on a rampage, they're gonna like do some crazy Harley Joker shit. But like she just dressed up for the courtroom
Yeah.
to sit there and then walk right out when she didn't like what he said.
What he said.
You know?
Yo, and then also too, we didn't even get that fucking like the trailer look of Harley Quinn in the movie. They took it out. The one where
Wasn't when she walked in? Wasn't that the what the I can't remember what
that
the
was one, but the one that I liked was when she cut her hair and she was wearing black and like the makeup was dripping off. I was like, that looks cool. But we didn't even get like her hair was like slicked back or something. Like there was a look, and I was like, we didn't get that look, dude.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
so-
know there's a scene that they took out, which is like both of them was dancing down the stairs. They didn't do that in the movie.
No,
That
they
wasn't
didn't
in
do
the
that
movie.
either. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of bullshit that like there was in the trailers and they took it out. And honestly, too, the craziest thing when Joaquin Phoenix is Joker, he was like, "Yo, I give up. Like I'm tired. I killed those people. I am not the Joker." When he did that, I was like, "You little bitch, dude! Like you made me watch this
I know.
whole fucking movie for you to say this." This shit,
You
like
know-
I was Harley Quinn at that point. I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. This was stupid.
You know,
This was a
so-
waste of time.
the wildest shit, right? Is that like so they're in there for the trial for all the murders that he did. The lady lawyer was there to get him out, saying like he wasn't him, he wasn't Arthur, it was Joker. There are two different people. She was fighting for him to help him get out from like that crazy jail, like Arkham Asylum shit. And like Harley is like, that's not you. You are Joker. And she felt betrayed that because she was like excited that he went into the courtroom with his makeup on,
Yeah.
embracing his Jokerness. But like what that meant was that if he embraced his Jokerness, that basically meant like he was less likely to get out because it's like, oh, like he's Joker. You know what I mean? Like we don't want a person that crazy out in the world. So I don't know what Harley's deal
Harley
was,
wanted
but
him
she
to go
she
crazy.
wants him, but she wants him to be in jail still.
She wants the
It's like-
chaos.
No.
She wants
So
the
yeah, she
chaos.
wanted chaos. So she thinks that if he accepts his Joker persona, everyone that's outside rioting for him will get him out, which they kind of did, but he didn't accept it. He didn't take it.
Yeah, by then
So
it was
it's
too
like,
late.
all right.
But like, yeah,
No.
and at that point, like, yeah, it would have created like chaos on the streets because everyone was protesting. He could have like done some crazy shit still and talked about some crazy shit. Like he was just him representing himself annoyed the shit out of me too. The whole thing was just it was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that was
The-
that whole dialogue of him representing
Yeah.
like didn't even make sense to
It
me.
didn't make
I don't
sense.
know.
The accent
Weird.
that he chose to do was weird. I think like at the end too, like Yeah, Harley fucked him over. Like if he had just listened to his lawyer, he would have been fine. But also that wouldn't have been a movie. But like Harley used him for her own good, and it wasn't even like a Harley thing. Like it was just weird, dude. Like she just like was like, I
Yeah.
like this thing. I want to see where it goes, but I'm gonna fuck him up, and then like not even care if she's dead. That also
Yeah,
begs
'cause
the
it-
question. Like she's crazy, dude. She is crazy. So I was also wondering, like, is she lying about her being pregnant? I was very curious because
Yeah, she's lying. Yeah.
I wonder if she was
She-
lying
she-
or if she was 100% like truthful.
No, she was definitely lying. She was doing a bunch of lies. And they kind of explained in the movie, like, because she was lying and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And then she admitted that she did lie about all those things.
yeah, like her
Um,
dad and like all that.
Which is the cool. I think that was one of like the cool, I guess, Easter egg to happen there when Joker was in the cell. Then the lady lawyer was explaining like, no, she's lying. She had like
yeah,
a
PhD.
she's a college graduate as a being in psychiatry and all that stuff. And then he was like, you wouldn't get it. Like he was laughing. He's like, you wouldn't get it. I was like, oh, that's a cool Easter egg. So every time he says you wouldn't get it, which he did in the first one, obviously Batman is born from that joke there. And then this one is like, you wouldn't get it to the joke, the Harley Quinn one. So Harley Quinn is born from that joke there. Thought it was a little good, cool Easter egg. But
That is a cool Easter egg, but also it's just like that's not Harley Quinn. Like Harley Quinn is like
yeah, this is not.
abused by the Joker. Like she doesn't have the power. The Joker has the
Yeah.
power.
She was manipulating him the whole time. It's like I genuinely started to feel bad. I was feeling bad for him for almost the whole time. Where like all the guards were fucking beating the shit out of him and like fucking make fun of him.
Yeah.
And like he literally it feels like he was a victim the whole time where like he genuinely went crazy
Yeah, and he was taking advantage
and
of with
killed people because it felt like he had no choice and that was what helped him. And then like, you know, Harley came out the cut, like convinced him, just manipulating him to be crazy again. And I was like, bro, this is a man who like has like mental problems and you're fucking like you're
Yeah.
fucked.
You're making
But
it,
also-
like, taking advantage.
Yeah, taking a bit. But that's when I knew like I was like this ain't Joker. Cuz like as soon as like Harley Quinn like had him in her like grasp, I was like no fucking way. Cuz I was like it's the opposite way. It's the opposite way. Like Joker takes advantage of Harley. Harley is a deeply
No,
manipulative
Joker is like a crazy mastermind. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
why I was like,
he's
this ain't
crazy,
Joker, dude.
but like he is like entirely intelligent.
Yeah.
And like none of this did not portray
It was
any of
not,
that.
so-
Which is
Yeah.
why I've always said Joker. I don't consider this Joker movies a Joker. Like he's not the Joker.
Yeah.
It's just a guy in clown makeup who went crazy. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
this, I
But this-
never attached this to DC at all.
But that's why they made part two. Like again, it's just to clarify. Okay, you guys are right. You guys did say that was the Joker you guys are familiar with, and we want to still be relevant to DC. So we're gonna give you a part two to explain. Yeah, you're right. This is not the Joker. It's gonna be a Joker.
Right, yeah.
That's what it is. There's going to be a Harley Quinn. So like the thing, this is why like I kind of gave it like emoji rating that I gave you guys, where it's like at the end I gave it like a smirk face because I'm like, okay, I get what they're doing with this because this is a young Harley. She's still a graduate student. She's not a full on psychiatrist yet, and I feel like they did that on purpose because eventually she's gonna be a psychiatrist to the Arkham Asylum to try to find a Joker, and that's why she was there in the first place. And then she eventually do find the Joker, which is so it kind of like put in this little origin of its own kind of way where it's like, all right, you're familiar with Harley Quinn being a psychiatrist, and that's how she met Joker. Well, this kind of says the origin before that of what she was doing prior to that and why she's so infatuated with Joker in the first place. This kind of explained that because it never explained it in the comic why she's fucking psycho like the Joker. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
kind of did it for me. Like every time we hear Harley Quinn, she was a cool, hot, blonde psychiatrist, and all of a sudden she fell in love with Joker and became crazy. And it's like, but why? But why?
Yeah.
Like why? This kind of gave me that why. You know, she's been
I get
searching
that.
for it, and then when she gave up on Arthur Fleck, she went and actually got her degree and became a full-on psychiatrist. But still, there's a part of her that want that Joker, so she's seeking him out. And I'm obviously lured to her working on Arkham Asylum and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But,
See, now imagine that's the next movie, like Joker.
just-
3.
no. Don't. This is it. Don't. No
I don't
more.
think
No
they-
more
I don't
Todd
think
Phillip
they-
We're
movies.
putting it out there.
I don't think they're doing another
No-
movie, especially how bad this
no
movie
more.
did. I don't think they're doing another
No,
movie.
for sure.
I took the ending of this movie the same as I took the ending of The Dark Knight Rises, where Robin rise up from the cave,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's up to our imagination, but we already know what happens. So this is the same concept. It's like it's up to our imagination, but we know what happens.
Fair,
Um,
fair. So yeah,
it's funny because
that's-
like this whole entire time us talking about it, like the way we're like going from beginning to end and how the movie's going and what this Arthur Fleck was going through and how he's getting manipulated and stuff like that, and then this whole court battle of him fighting not only with the criminal justice but also himself, whether he's Joker or not, and then ultimately dying and causing a new Joker to be born and all that stuff. Us going through it and talking about it, it sounds so solid. It sounds like a good
yeah,
movie,
It sounds like a good movie.
but the way it was executed was not
Not a
good.
good movie at all.
No, it's because we're not mentioning all of the fucking musical portions. We're mentioning the story itself, but the music really played a giant role in this movie.
Yeah.
The music, and it just took away so much of it. Like
It's too
great
much.
emotional scenes, and like, cause like I really sympathize with like Arthur Fleck in this movie, right? And like the music itself just took away so much emotion from it that like I couldn't even process it correctly until after I really thought back about the movie. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, like okay, like I genuinely felt bad for this character, and like
Yeah.
he got like fucked. Like the one person who had his back, he got convinced to turn them away. You know what I mean? Like every turn he took, it was just bad decision after bad decision made by other people. Like
They
fuck.
should have honestly 2, maybe 3 musical pieces. That would have been fine. And then just like make a good movie, but it was like every musical piece. It was just too much singing that it really did take away from the entire movie. Which I think it could have been a little bit better if they didn't have as much music, but it just wasn't. It just
If
wasn't.
that wasn't the route, you know, if they're going into this is like, hey, we're gonna make a musical with Lady Gaga. If that wasn't like their headspace going into the movie probably would have been good,
Mhm.
you know. But they went with you could tell that's let's make it a musical, and then the movie came to exist. Like
Yeah, and then
that's
it was
how
like,
it
this is
came
it.
to exist.
So
It's like fuck. I wish they didn't do that route.
yeah.
But
No, I
then
agree.
again, I wish they did a lot of things. But
I was just about to say that, yeah. So that is our honest opinion. Guys, we're going to break it down into categories now. We are going to do story and plot, character, action, CGI, soundtrack, and our overall scoring of the movie out of 10. Story and plot is very, you know, how do we like the story of the plot? Characters, you know, what kind of characters were in the movie? Did we like them? Did we not like them? Action, was there any? No. So this is probably going to get like a 0. CGI, barely any. So that's probably going to get like a 0 too. Soundtrack, that's a lot. And then overall scoring of the entire thing. So we'll just kind of get right on into it. Guys, what did you think of the story or plot of the movie itself? Just the story plot. Let's kind of get right into that. You know what I mean?
yeah, I'll give it a 4.
that's
Like I said, it's
a 2.
a solid
a 2,
story and
man.
plot.
A 2.
I don't like it. It wasn't enough. It didn't get me. Like, it wasn't much of a story. It was a trial. It was an episode of a CSI, like, you know, trial thing. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. Like, it was. They gave us a sprinkle of a love story. Like, it was a musical. That was what it was. But like, the story was just him going to trial, trying to get out of trial, like out of like going to jail and shit, like the insanity plea, like that's really what it is.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, they gave us fucking like explosion, escape, on the run, brought us back to the original scene of the stairwell. Like that was the only great part of the whole thing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? The entire throughout, I was just feeling real bad for this character. I'm like, oh, like shitty, like life, like, you know, people like fucking with him and stuff like that. Yeah, nah, that's just like a 2.
I'm actually going to give it a
I'll
4.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 4.
I am going to give it a 4 because the
Solid.
plot itself, I appreciated the plot. I just think that it was executed poorly. So the plot, though, like the movie itself, I don't like. But the plot, if you're looking at the plot by itself, I did appreciate the plot. So I'll go ahead and give it a 4. But that is ultimately, as an average, going to be a 3.3 continuously. So we'll go for 3.3 here out of 5. That's a fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Characters.
I mean, just because
Oh.
we rate the story plot like high, it doesn't mean we're gonna rate the overall high.
No,
That's
God, no.
Yeah.
the overall's gonna be low.
Yeah, it is. So overall, the characters of the movie, honestly, there's really only like 2 that you really care about. I mean, there was
The only scene that I thought there was some decent acting and minor character development where I actually felt something was what's his name? The little guy when they had like the little conversation in court. Was it Gary? I can't remember what his name
something
was.
like, I think it was
Yeah.
Gary.
But yeah, when they had like that back and forth and it was like a teary moment, I was like, I felt that, yo. I felt that.
Yeah.
That was decent. That was good acting. I love the 2 characters. Like they were the characters I remember from. Well, that was the Arthur Fleck that I remember from Joker 1, where he's like he's starting to feel his emotion coming out.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
like, "Oh, this is
that-
I
yeah.
actually did this." I
But
think
other
he
than that, I mean,
realized what
Yeah.
he's done. Yeah, I liked that scene. I also actually liked the scene. So I didn't obviously love it because it was really bad, but that scene where like he supposedly got like sexually assaulted. You know what I mean? In the jail.
Yeah.
That scene kind of hit home for me too, because I was like, oh damn, like that's rough. Like you're seeing like that shit happen. He's taken advantage of, and then they kill the kid, and he's just laying there, and he's just like, that's like the look of defeat, where he's just like, this needs to end.
Yeah, that was a good scene too.
Yeah, where he's.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he was just done, dude. Like at that point, like I know that broke him because like he was like, what am I doing? Like I'm not Joker. Like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it breaks hard because like when he's told by Harley and everyone around him, his followers that you're Joker. You're pretty much you're untouchable if you're Joker. But then this scene happened, and it's like I guess he's not untouchable.
Right.
And
And
so it was like
no one knew that
tough.
happened to him, but like he knew, and he was just kind of broken at the end afterwards. But I don't know. The whole thing just kind of sucked. I'm gonna give it a 3 for characters.
3.
Yeah.
Same.
So average of a 3. So we're gonna give characters 3 out of 5. I think we can just kind of get right on into it. I'm gonna give it a 1 for action. Actually, to be honest with you, only because there was a slight action. I can't say there was no action. There was slight action.
There was like
It was one
two
little
scenes
scene.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One very little scene. So I'm like giving 1 for like effort. You know what I mean?
2. I think it's 2. So there's the bomb.
Yeah.
And then him hitting the judge and all that stuff, like the freaking
Like during the musical thing. Yeah, that was like whatever.
Yeah,
right?
but that technically that didn't even happen. It all happened in his head.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to count that.
I'm not counting.
So.
I'm not counting that. I'm just counting the one scene. I'm giving it a 1 because I was like, yeah, he had something.
Yeah, 1's fine then.
I'll give a 1 for action.
1 for 1 action scene. That's what it is.
CGI, there really like wasn't any, so I'm just gonna give that as.
It's pretty bad. No, that was going back to the bomb explosion. That should look bad.
That was bad, dude. That's why I'm giving it straight up 0-2 anyway. That was bad when the thing blew up and that guy flew up all.
Yeah,
that was
pretty bad. That's definitely CGI. Shane, did you notice it was CGI?
I just assumed those special effects.
That's
horrible special effects. Yeah,
it was so bad. I'm still giving it a 0. Yo, all right, soundtrack. I'm giving it. So soundtrack in general, right? So you could judge this the way that you want to judge it. Like, were the song choices good? Was it memorable? Did it like go well with the movie? I'm giving it a 1. I was gonna give it a 0. I was gonna give it a 0. But
that was close, Adam. That was
close. I was gonna give it a 0, but then I realized I was like, you know what? Like for effort, sure, and like some of the music was like okay, like it kind of was creepy, but like it's too much, and I did not care for it. It was not needed. I'm giving it a 1.
You guys are gonna hate my score.
Hold on. Okay, I'll give mine first, then mine after. I'll do this now. I'll give it a. I'm gonna give it like a 2.5, and the only reason why I'm giving it a 2.5 is because some part of the musical it goes in and out. Either it starts with the old soundtrack of Joker 1, then it goes into the musical.
Yeah.
And then there's some scene where it's like the musical and it fades out with the old soundtrack of Joker 1. And I thought that shit was clever as fuck that they did that because it kind of like remind you that, okay, here's reality and then here's what's going on in his head and then here's back to reality. And it's like, I felt that in a way. And I love the soundtrack for the Joker 1. The
Oh yeah,
soundtrack
that
is
was
fucking
awesome.
crazy.
That was
Crazy.
so good.
Yeah. So this kind of like, it gave me like that nostalgia moment, like feeling every time I hear it. So I'll give it a 2.5 for that.
Give it a 4. I like the songs they chose. They added a lot of like oldies type of music.
Oldies was good,
yeah. It adds to the aesthetic of the time period of what Joker was, because like you can tell like the time period from that, and like it felt like it played well to the moment that they were trying to do. Other than like there were songs that's just excessive and unnecessary, but there was like small little moments of like the song they chose. I was like, okay, I feel the point of what they're trying to capture with this scene, and I was like, yeah. But I was happy with most of the song choices.
Yeah. So perfect time. So do you know the scene that I was talking about? Where it's like there's a musical piece that I like. It was like in the middle of the movie.
Was it the tap dancing one?
No, it was when he finally accepted that he's Joker.
When was that?
It happened during the court scene when he was like hitting the judge with the mallet and all that stuff. And at the end of it, like he got into like the stand or like on top in the middle or something like that. Then he shot himself with a gun, and then it was like, I don't know if you remember that scene, but like basically like
I remember the scene. I'm trying to remember the song, like not the song, but like how much the song kind of played out into it. I wasn't sure if that was the tap dance scene. No, because that was before that.
The tap dancing was on stage. That one was on stage. Yeah. This one, I was talking about one in the courtroom. This one happened in the courtroom, and he shot himself in the head because obviously he's accepting what Harley is telling him to accept, which is to be the Joker, and he pretty much shot himself, which is shooting Arthur Fleck. No, he's fully the Joker, even though it's temporary. But that was my favorite scene. I thought that shit was well done. Honestly, that should have been the only musical, and that would have been fine.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I missed that scene. Well, like I didn't catch my eye the way it did you.
Guys, the final thing that we have is overall. So
Ooh.
yeah, so I'll go first. All right, because I think I have. Okay, let me think about this. So I'm looking back. 6.2. Do I like it better or worse than Shazam? All right, so here's the thing. So movie overall, didn't really care much for it. I thought it was a very mid movie. Music was really bad, but like I said, I keep going back to the plot, and I do appreciate the plot. I think that it was really cool to see, just kind of like how someone's 15 minutes of fame can really be, right? So like, he dressed up and did this whole segment, and he did it, but he didn't mean to become the Joker. People gave him that name, the Joker, and then he just killed people. You know what I mean? Like, he was crazy. He killed people, and then he ended up blowing up. And he went on the talk show and he said his piece, and everyone loved it. Now this guy gets like this 15 minutes of fame, and then during the second movie, you see that he can't stay up with that 15 minutes. Like, I felt like throughout the whole movie, he kind of was just acting really strange, and people just, it wasn't as crazy as he was in the first movie. Like, he was acting like in the first movie, he acted psychotic. In this movie, he was like, oh, like, I got to keep the high. So like when he was representing himself, he had this weird accent, and you could tell it was like tanking. Like, he's a failed comedian. You know what I mean? He's not funny, but he was trying to be funny, and it wasn't working out because it was cringe. It was like really like uncomfortable, but people were riding that high because he's the Joker now. You know what I mean? And so I feel like he is just trying so hard to just have people think of him the way that they think of him throughout the whole time. And then all of a sudden he realizes that what he's doing is not him, and what he's doing is hurting people, and he doesn't want to actually hurt people. And he just doesn't turn out to be the Joker. So I appreciated that. Now, do I like it more than Eternals? No. Do I like it more than Thor Love and Thunder? Yes. Do I like it way more than Thor Love and Thunder? No. So I think I'm gonna give this like Thor: Love and Thunder, Shazam 2, Flash. Those were all 6.2s. I'm gonna give this like a 6.4. I'm sticking with the 6.4. I'm not gonna give it a 6.5 because I just really don't feel like it's fair for that. I'm giving it a 6.4. I was gonna give it a 6.3, but I feel like I'm gonna give it a 6.4. It was just an okay movie for me, and a lot of the times that I'm thinking about this, it kind of pisses me off. So I think that it's just kind of gonna be there. So
Yeah.
that's my
I'm sticking with my score like since we started the stream. I'm sticking with a 6.5. I do again. Everything was there, Todd Phillips. Everything was there.
mhm.
You just didn't fucking execute it right.
No.
Everything was there. A musical piece for a fucking insane person, clown like Joker and Harley Quinn. That's a cool idea. That's a very cool idea. You just didn't do it right. It didn't make sense to be in it.
No.
Fucking the whole idea that this inspire our favorite villain and characters that we see in our favorite comic series and all that stuff, like Batman, Harley Quinn, and Joker and all that stuff, and it just giving us like this origin, this fresh origin. Fucking that was awesome. But you didn't execute everything right because you added way too much shit. You have way too many good ideas, and when a lot of good ideas is put into one, it becomes one giant shit show.
One
This is
huge
exactly
thing.
what it was.
And all
Yeah.
the stuff that was in the trailer was basically barely in the movie.
Exactly. It could have been a lot of
Could've
different
been
routes
so
you could have
much
gone.
better.
Yeah, that would have made this so much better. But again, I don't necessarily think that it's a bad movie, but at the same time, I don't think that it's a good movie, especially when you fucking give us Joker 1, which was a fucking amazing ass
So
movie.
good.
You know what I mean? So this is it didn't do it right. If it falls under the category where sequel is a curse, where that
Ooh.
shit just fails.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I still give it 6.5 because I still, again, like all the reasons I just listed, I do appreciate it for that part, and I think that's like the weight of my score there is because of those things.
Fair. Shane, what about you?
Since like the beginning, I was thinking it's somewhere between like 6 and 6.5. As we were like talking through it, like it's lowered my opinion. So I'm gonna give it a 6. But it's like, because first of all, I don't agree with the whole like idea of plot and like all these great ideas. Like I don't think like it if it kept any essence of the original, like sure, but like it, if anything, it was a rehash of the original through the trial. So it wasn't much of its own story enough to be its own movie. Like I said, this feels like an episode of a fucking like crime show, and like because there was no like there was more emphasis on the crazy, less on the reality of the brutal murders and stuff like that. Like it just made me feel bad for the guy, and like I don't want to feel bad for the character
Yeah.
when he's supposed to be this like villain type. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, but like I said, I enjoy the musical. So I'm giving it a 6.
Yeah.
So-
I will say too, these scores that we're given, it's still not bad. It's
No.
not bad,
No,
but it's a very like okay. Well, what is the average for this, Adam? What's the
So
average for this?
so with my 6.4, your 6.5, and Shane's 6, it comes out to a 6.3. It's just barely better than
So-
the 6.2s that we just had.
Yeah, I will say this is a very disappointing 6.3. We agree that it's 6.3, but it's a sad 6.3.
It is a sad
It's not an
6.3.
exciting.
Yeah, it
Because
It's not an
des-
exciting.
It
6.3.
deserves to be better, but it isn't because it sucks. But
Yeah.
like what I'm saying is like it's still hey, like at the end of the day, honestly, whatever we say, you go ahead and you make your own decision. You know, you go see the movie for yourself and you make the decision that you want to make. If you like the movie, power to you, man. But we're just giving our honest opinions right now, right? And I think that it's just not worth to go see it in the theater. Like just watch and
Yeah,
wait,
definitely
like
not.
wait it and watch for free. But what we're saying is like it's sad because like we all wanted this movie to do good. It looked good in the trailers, and then it was an absolute shit show in the movie. But it had good points, so it's definitely better than average. It's definitely better than Thor: Love and Thunder. I agree with the rating. I think it's slightly better than Thor: Love and Thunder, Shazam 2, and Flash. I think it's better than those 3 movies, and I think it's not as good as Eternals. So it falls in a solid spot, but it is like Andrew said, it's a sad 6.3 because it
Yeah.
feels like we should have like I was honestly walking into this movie before it even came out, like the week before, whatever. I was walking into this movie being like, it's gonna be like an 8. It's gonna be like up there, you know what I mean? And now it's just a really sad.
I was
6.
hoping because when Snowy gave his first impression, I was like, I always end up rating higher than Snowy, so I hope for the best. I was walking in expecting more because of Snowy's rating, and I'm like,
I thought I was gonna like it more because
was
of your rating
no.
too. Yeah, because you were like 7. I was like 7, really? Wow.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
yeah. Because the thing is, I knew I was gonna like the musical portion. I knew, and that was why I thought my rating was gonna be higher.
Yeah.
But like, I also like have an understanding that like because I have such an appreciation for musicals, like genuine movies with as a musical properly plays into the story and like helps it evolve.
Yeah.
This didn't feel like it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It felt like they just chose certain songs and added scenes to it. That was really what it was.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there you have it,
Do you need to see this movie? No, you don't need to see it.
No.
But
This
if
is
you
the kind of
want
movie
to
you leave
know,
on in the background while you do
if you
your
want
chores.
to, yeah, while you eat like food or something. But like, if you want to know what happened to Arthur Fleck, then maybe give it a watch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree. And I
Yeah.
think honestly, this is a really solid review overall of the movie in general. But that is it. That is the stamp of approval for the Comic Nerds 6.3, guys. Going right below Eternals, right above Thor: Love and Thunder. So
I agree with that. Yeah,
I agree with that too. I think I agree
Sure.
with that. Yeah. So that is our rating, guys, and we're sticking to it. So as I said before, well, first of all, that's all for this episode tonight. But as I said before, at the very beginning of the episode, I'm not entirely sure, when we're going to be back and when we're going to have episode 95. There's a lot of stuff coming up, especially little baby dips. So whenever they might be born next week by then. So I will keep everybody posted, keep everyone updated. If baby dips is not born and we have some news and we're all available to do it, we might see you guys next week. But if not, we will see you guys probably in a couple weeks or whatnot. We'll just have to kind of eyeball it. You'll definitely be notified. So if we don't see you, or if we do see you, regardless, have a great rest of your night, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Fantastic weekend. And a solid week next week as well. Hopefully, we will see you on episode 95 in the future. And we will hopefully see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, everybody. Good night.